This is Sports Talk with Theo Dorsey.
Welcome into the very first edition of Sports Talk with Theo. I'm your host, Theo Dorsey, and we got plenty of arena football action to talk about today. So without further ado, South Georgia, let's talk sports, and let's start by introducing our very first guest, head coach of the Georgia Firebirds, Antoine Savage. Welcome to the show.
Welcome. Good to be here.
Thank you, thank you. Now, obviously, you are the head coach of the Georgia Firebirds, but before we get into that, you obviously have a little bit of a past. As you can see behind us, right now it's video of you actually coaching up the Firebirds, but we had something in there of you playing with the Panthers. Savage played with the Panthers for how many years were you with the Panthers?
I was with the Panthers for 4 years.
About 4 years, 2 championships.
2 championships.
And obviously a great reign here in Albany. So you were with the Panthers. You're a former Oklahoma Sooners wide receiver where you set a record at the time.
Right.
And also, obviously, now you are a head coach in your second year with the Georgia Firebirds. So obviously you have that championship experience and everything. How do you kind of take that and look to translate that into bringing that kind of winning tradition to the Firebirds?
Oh, when it comes to coaching, I feel like I've been a champion playing, so I know what it takes when it comes to the coaching part of it. I want to get players that kind of resemble some of the players I played with, some of the players I may have played against, and bring them all together and just put what I know into the game.
Obviously so, and that's what you've been doing. And one thing that's kind of recent to your list on your resume is you're an Albany Sports Hall of Famer. How did that feel to get that honor?
Oh, that was big. I used to see people getting inducted into it. I always wondered what it would take to get into there. I finally got my chance, and it's a great honor.
It is. And obviously another great honor playing in front of these fans at the Albany Civic Center. The Georgia Firebirds opened up actually on Saturday night, their season opener against the High Country Grizzlies out of Boone, North Carolina. And I know it didn't go as you planned, but let's take a look at the highlights and go through what happened on Saturday night out there in the Albany Civic Center. So obviously the commissioner on hand, flipping the coin and getting things going. How'd it feel to have the commissioner on hand for the game?
Oh, that was big. For the commissioner to come down for your first game, that's a real big thing. He wanted to come down and see what we had down here. I think he got a little bit of it, but it wasn't, what I wanted out of it.
Of course not, but what you got right there was a turnover, a big-time play on the first Grizzlies possession. That gave you the ball, and it gave you a chance to strike first. Now, after that turnover, 3 and out actually happened. After this big-time catch here by John Harris, he gets it to the goal line. What happened with the offense on those next 3 plays where you guys weren't able to get the touchdown?
Oh, we didn't really get any push from our offensive line. We tried to run the ball in. Maybe we should have tried to pass it. We was in the red zone. It's kind of hard to pass the ball when you're in that red zone. Like I said, we didn't get that push we needed from the offensive line. We got stuffed with the run, so we ended up going for the 3.
Definitely so. And then on the other end, after you guys went up 3-zip, a quick strike touchdown from them, and they rode the boat. Now, obviously, that's not a good sign you want to see in your own end zone early on in the game, them celebrating.
No, you don't want to see that on your field. It gets your fans out of the game. It gets your players down sometimes. So that's something you want to take away early in the game.
Right, and then this next strike we just saw was a touchdown pass from Jeff Legree to Ogba out of Florida State. Can you talk about, he's 6'6". What a target is that for an offense to have in arena football?
He's a big guy. You get the ball up to him, keep it high. Most DBs can't cover him. So that's big to have a 6'6" receiver. And his wingspan really puts him about 6'9". So he can run, he can catch the ball. He's a big target for us.
Definitely a good target, and he was one of those go-to guys on 3rd down. We'll see a little bit of that later. Here goes that ensuing possession. The Grizzlies able to punch it in right there in you guys' goal line. That gave them the slight lead in the first quarter, but you guys had an answer after that.
Yeah, defensively, I think we got to get more push on our defensive line. A lot of teams in this league like to run the ball. They're pretty big up front. I think I got to beef it up, try to find me some bigger guys. So after that, we came out. I think we were able to put a score in. So that was big for us, but at the same time, we didn't score enough.
Right, and there we just saw the turning point of the game. You guys had a chance to strike back, a turnover on a lateral pass. You're trying to figure out what happened there. What was going through your mind after that play?
Oh, it looked like the team just went into a bubble, man. I mean, the guy threw the ball laterally, and we didn't even react to it. They just got an easy touchdown. And I think on the ensuing play, we went down, and we went 3 and out maybe, and they went down and scored again. So I could see us going flat. That's something we got to work on as a team.
And how do you manage that? How do you manage the mood of the team when you see something like that where it's a back-and-forth game and then you give up such a big possession there?
I got to get them to understand that it is arena football. Anything can happen. I mean, the clock's running, but at the same time, things happen. If we can hit a quick play and get the guys rolling, get a stop on defense, get the ball back, anything can happen. I mean, we was only down by 2 scores at one point. Then it seemed like it just slipped away.
Right, and from there, it did kind of slip away from you guys. You guys were able to fight back a little bit, and as a coach for you, right going into the half, you guys were still in it. It was a 9-point game. You guys were fighting with them neck and neck. What happened after that halftime break to where they were able to kind of make a push?
It was like they went in, made some changes up front with their defensive line. They found something that they could use against us on our offensive line, and they used it against us. Quarterback got a lot of pressure. He wasn't comfortable. He was coming out looking at the rush, and that killed us.
Right. And we can take a look back at these highlights here. This was right before the half. You had a touchdown that was called back because of a flag on a holding call. You talked about the offensive line struggling, but you were able to answer here. Legree escaping the pressure and finding Harris. Now, what a vet move is that? You were a receiver in the arena. It looked like he was hiding out in that corner there for that touchdown.
Yeah, basically he was supposed to run a sail right there. He was in the spot he was supposed to be in. The quarterback just had to get his eyes up. When he got him up, he was wide open.
Wide open. And here, a big-time stop. Right before the half, the Grizz trying to punch it in. As time expired, you get a stop there. Now, you talked about getting a push. That's something you like to see as a coach, right?
Yeah, that was big, but at the same time, that's a defensive back making that stop. That's not a defensive end or a defensive linebacker. So, like I said, we got to get more push up front.
Right, definitely so. So now you as a coach able to, hour or so out of the game, you're able to kind of let it soak in. A lot of the emphasis it seemed like you had was on the defensive and offensive lines. How do you beef that up?
I got to get on the phone, call around, see who's getting released, see if anybody's trying to play from other leagues, just get different guys in to compete with the guys that I already have. And if they can do better than them, then we give them a shot.
Right, and you guys, a big part of the struggle for the offense, third down, that's a spot where you want to be able to make some things happen. I think you guys were 2 for 8 on third down, 1 for 5 on fourth down. How do you get that conversion rate up?
We got to get in situations in practice, get in third down situations in practice, get in fourth down situations in practice, call plays that we would call in those situations, make sure we complete them, make sure we execute those plays, and I think that'll help us down the road.
Right. Then on the other side, defensively, there was a guy that gave you a little bit of trouble. If you look behind us, we saw a little action. Actually, it stopped up there, but we can see a little action from the wide receiver, the short, speedy guy, about 5'8" out of Stillman College, Duran, who gave you guys some problems. Now, what did the defensive secondary have problems with stopping him?
They were manned up right there. Our defensive back, he was in good position for the coverage, but at the same time, he took his eyes, looked in the backfield, and the DB ran a hitch and go on him and caught the deep ball. Quarterback made a good throw.
Right, and then right here again, he finds some open field, and this is what, tackling is the problem?
Yes, we're missing tackles. He's just running free. For a little guy like that, somebody should have been coming from behind. I don't know what my jack linebacker is. We got to work on that, pursuing the ball.
Definitely pursuing the ball there, and maybe getting a hold on him would have maybe helped out, but obviously scoring also one of those things you're going to have to do if you're going to keep up in Arena Football League. An output of, 32 points, might not be able to get it done on a nightly basis.
It's not going to get it done, not in Arena Football. Like I said, the clock's going, but at the same time, it's fast-paced. Team can score on a kick return. They can score on a deep pass in one play. You never know what's going to happen, so you got to be on your P's and Q's when it comes to offense, especially if your defense gets a stop for you in the game.
Right. And so for you as a coach, outside of obviously the line of scrimmage was the focus of where you think you guys can improve. What did you like out of your team out there in the Civic Center tonight?
I like the fact that my receivers came out. They made some plays. They made some catches. Harris dove over the wall for a touchdown tonight. Ibaga caught a couple of hitches, broke some tackles. Curtis made a big third down play for us. So I like what my receivers did. If I could beef it up front, I feel like we could go a long way. Defensively, if we could get a little pressure to help my DBs out. We had a couple of busted coverages, but at the same time, we just got to be disciplined on defense and come out and play.
Right, and that'll definitely help out for you guys. For you, as a coach, winning is obviously the formula because you're trying to make it into the playoffs, trying to make a push and maybe win the whole thing in the National Arena League in the first year. Also, you want to be able to provide some exciting experience for the fans there. How did you like the fan support tonight, and how do you think you can continue to increase that?
Oh, the fan support was great tonight. A lot of fans were out, a lot of kids were out. Seemed like they were having fun. Hopefully we can advertise more for our next home game, which is April the 8th. More fans will come out, and we'll have a lot of crowd. Maybe they'll roll their defense up or something, make a play for us, and go from there.
Right, and then again, I want to talk about, you talked about your next home game, April 8th. Your next game coming up is going to be a big-time rivalry game. When you talk about proximity to Jacksonville Sharks, you played them here in preseason. What did you see out of that preseason game that makes you think that your team may be able to make some moves on them and get a win in the regular season?
Like I said, I saw some good things from my receivers. My secondary did some good things against them. like up front, we got to beef it up because they were big up front. They ran the ball on us a lot. Tonight I played without my linebacker, Larry Edwards. It was some key components missing, but at the same time, I'm going to go in next week and we're going to go into battle.
Right, and for you, I know some people might not know the process. You talk about bringing players in and importing them and getting some out maybe. You know, how easy is it to kind of, especially in arena football, get people into your system, teach it to them, and have that turnaround quick for a game that's coming up on this weekend?
Oh, that's really hard. I mean, to come in an arena game from an outdoor game is totally different. I mean, I can remember my first time coming in. It took me at least half a season to really get a grasp of the game. So just to bring in guys that come from outdoors is kind of hard, but you look for guys who have a little bit of arena experience who maybe you can coach up and get them to where you want them to be.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. And I saw a lot of, you obviously had the training camp. You had some weeks to work with some of these players. What were you looking for, and how'd you weed players in and out to make sure that you had the right guys for the system that you're bringing out there today?
Oh, we were looking to see how fast the guys can progress our offensive playbook, our defensive playbook, see how well it translates to the game. And in a game time situation, yes, we played the scrimmage, but we were looking at different people, so that wasn't a fair opportunity. But tonight we got a chance to let guys go a full game, or we'll evaluate the film. We'll bring in different guys to kind of push them and see what they can do.
That's right. That's good. That's good. And obviously you guys got a lot ahead of you. One thing I did want to do, we talked about the fans. Obviously there's some fans out there watching the show right now that's probably thinking, Theo, you're not asking the right questions. Theo, I want to know something specifically, and for that, I have this for those guys out there that want to talk to Savage yourself, but can't get to him. I will be the median. Talk to me, tweet at me, or Facebook, #Let'sTalkSports, and enter in a question there. If you want to ask Coach Savage about maybe you have an opinion, you can tell him, hey, Coach Savage, if y'all do this, we want to come out more and show some more love and support. Tweet that to me, Facebook it to me, #Let'sTalkSports, or you can mention me at BrandonTheoD. I'll respond, and then on the next show when we have Savage back on, I'll be able to ask that question for you. How does that sound for you? How much would you like the fans to interact and give you something to talk about?
That sounds good. A fan might bring in a player or two. You never know, so that's big.
There you go. Look, if you're out there, if you're a fan out there and you got somebody, you know, an offensive lineman, defensive lineman,
yes.
Let's talk sports. #Let'sTalkSports, and maybe we can bring them on in there and get them into that system, get them acclimated, and get them right.
That's right.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to obviously have some more. This show is not ending. We're going to go into a break. After the break, we're going to bring in a wide receiver, a guy that you guys might know very well, John Harris, who spent some time on the Panthers with you. Yes. He also is a veteran receiver for your team right now. Before we leave for the break, talk about just how deep your relationship is with Harris and how important he is to the team you got right now.
Oh, man, we go way back. I can remember the first time he came on to us with the Panthers. He was young, straight out from outside. He didn't know anything. He could run, he could catch. But we slowed him down, taught him the game. He learned how to run routes, catch balls. He was on the championship team with us. When we folded away, he ended up going to Columbus. I had to watch him play with them and win championships still, kind of bringing leadership to their team. So to have him back here is big. I know what he brings to the team, the leadership, just his knowledge of the game. And it's going to take us a long way.
Right, definitely so. So you heard it directly from this guy, so you're not going to want to miss what John Harris has to say, and he might have some positive things to say about you as well. Maybe not so much now that you're the coach. Right, but we'll be right back. Thank you guys for watching, and don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this break. How would you like to see your favorite team in action? To celebrate Bounce Albany moving to its new home on WALB 10.3, we are giving one lucky fan a chance to win 2 tickets to the game of their choice. Watch Bounce Albany 10.3 each night between 8 and 10 and look for the word of the day. Visit WALB.com or the free WALB News 10 mobile app and enter for your chance to win, and you could be on your way to see your favorite team in action, courtesy of Bounce Albany 10.3. Welcome back to Sports Talk with Theo Dorsey. I knew you'd come back. I knew you'd stick around because obviously we have a very special guest here for the second part of the show, and that's wide receiver John Harris for the Georgia Firebirds. Now, you guys may know him because he's shown his face around South Georgia so much. Americus Sumter High School, or was it just Americus? Americus. It was just Americus. I'm sorry. I might get beat up over that one.
Just Americus. Just Americus.
Americus High School, the Albany Panthers, and also the Georgia Firebirds. Now, I've heard, and also the Columbus Lions. Yeah. Now, you've won multiple championships back-to-back. in many different places. I almost want to call you Mr. Back-to-Back. So can you go through your championships that you've had at each level?
Man, like you said, man, I won them back. I won my first 2 back-to-back in high school, my junior and senior year. Then I came on a great organization with the Panthers. I ended up winning the back-to-back. Then I also went with a great organization in Columbus and ended up winning the back-to-back. So my football career been real well, man, I must say.
Right, so if history's telling us anything, maybe we have some back-to-back championships in store with the Georgia Firebirds.
Most definitely in the plans, most definitely in the plans.
There we go, Mr. Back-to-Back here. Now tonight against the High Country Grizzlies, you were one of the main targets for the quarterback, somewhat of it seemed like his security blanket. Went to you 7 times, had 65 yards and 2 touchdowns. How do you feel about your performance in that game?
I feel like I played well. I feel like I played good, but I feel like I could have played better. Because at the end of the day, it's about win and loss. It's not about how well I play or how well the next guy play. But I feel like me being the type of player that I am, coaches brought me in to be a leader. Coach brought me in to get us going. Coach brought me in to be the big-time player that I am. So I feel like it's a couple of plays I could have made that I did.
Right, and can you, obviously there was one turning point in the game that kind of stood out. That was the lateral pass. You were on the field for that play?
No, I wasn't.
You weren't, but as on the sideline, what did you see break down there, and what did you see the morale like with the team when they walked back to the sideline?
Man, honestly, we're a young football team. We have a couple of vets on the team. We young. We just right now, we just need to become a team. You know what I'm saying? Once we got a lot of talent on this football team. Once we become a team and start loving each other, start having a flagrant team, I think we're gonna be fine.
Now, a big part of that comes from the leadership of yourself, but also head coach Antoine Savage. I gave him a chance to rave about you in the first segment. Can you talk about you guys' relationship and been playing for him now as a player?
We ain't got enough time, honestly, man. But honestly, man, Sav taught me everything I know about the game. You know what I'm saying? When I came, like I said, when I came in as a rookie, man, he was a vet guy. So he was one of the guys who I stood behind, watching run his routes, because he was one of our top receivers. But man, he's a great guy on the court. I mean, on the field, off the field. He just, like you said, he's a friend now. It was just our relationship off the field, just make it so much better on the field.
And then a lot of people are nostalgic of what those Albany Panthers teams were. I know you guys are trying to build something different here when it comes to the Georgia Firebirds. True. But can you give us one anecdote, one special moment or feeling you had from back when you guys were playing alongside each other with the Panthers?
Just the main thing that stick out with me, what I tell on all teams I played on. The main thing about the Albany team that I've been on, that I haven't been on in the other team I played for, is family. Everybody loved each other. Everybody liked each other. Everybody wanted to see the next man successful. We were just so unselfish as a team. It didn't matter who scored a touchdown. It didn't matter nothing. We just wanted to win, and we loved each other.
All right, and then obviously with the Georgia Firebirds, my last question for you. You guys obviously didn't give the home fans what they wanted in that first game, blowout loss. How do you, as a veteran leader, turn that around?
Man, honestly, just tomorrow, watch a bunch of film. You know what I'm saying? Try to get the guys, because, you know, young guys, you know, we can get, it can go either way right now. Guys can get to point fingers, or we can come together. So I feel like my job is try to get everybody around, just try to get something positive of what we had, and just continue to grow as a team.
That's right. They'll continue to grow, and the Firebirds have their upcoming game against his former team. Actually, not your former team. That's 2 weeks down the road. You got the Jacksonville Sharks next in Jacksonville, so that'll be interesting to see how that pans out. Now, we talked about how you had to learn the game of arena football. Well, the fans have to do the same. So now I want to show you guys a quick segment. We have a referee on hand, Bruce Austin, who breaks down some of the nuances of what the Arena Football League is and how it's different from normal football. Check out this interesting way that teams can actually score on a kickoff. So I'm here with Bruce Austin, a crew chief member of the National Arena League, and of course, there are so many different variances with rules when it comes to National Arena League. When you're looking at games like from the NFL, from the NCAA, you're gonna see a lot of differences. Bruce, the first one I wanna talk to you about is when you're kicking the ball off, you're the kicking team, there are 2 different ways to score. I want to start off talking about the uno. How can a team score uno kicking the ball off?
All right, an uno is actually when the ball is kicked into the end zone and does not make it out of the end zone when it's in possession of either the receiving team or becomes dead in the end zone. So if the receiving team gains possession of the ball and gets tackled in the end zone, it's actually, you know, similar to a safety, but it's only 1 point, and it's given to the kicking team, but the ball is put on the 5-yard line at that point, and the receiving team actually retains the ball, so
Right,
they have possession.
So, and different from a safety because of the fact that the kicking team gets 1 point and the receiving team does get to retain the ball and start their offensive possession.
Right, that's correct.
All right, so now we want to talk about a deuce, which is a little different and probably a little easier to attain for the kicking team. What's a deuce?
All right, a deuce is actually when on the kickoff, the ball goes through the uprights or the goalposts that are out there. So the ball travels through the uprights, a deuce is scored for the kicking team, and again, ball's placed on the 5-yard line at that time, and the receiving team gets the ball. So it's kind of based around a lot of excitement and scoring, so that there's opportunities all around to you know, kind of get the fans involved with the scoring, which is what everybody wants to see.
And that must make for some very exciting finishes and a lot of different lead changes probably in arena football, right?
Absolutely. So, you know, just like a college and NFL, you can return a kick, you know, or a kick field goal. Same thing here. You know, there are so many variances on the kicking game, especially where the ball's still live off the wall and in the back of the end zone and different things too. So we can get into those a little bit later.
We will. We'll have plenty of these rule explanations from the experts. I'm not an expert. I'm learning from you guys. But this is something you can learn if you get on out there to the Georgia Firebird game. So thank you so much, Bruce.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. Bruce, thank you so much for that one. And obviously we'll have many more explanations and rules because that's just the tip of the iceberg. Coming up, we're going to go around the National Arena League in its first year in existence. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you right after the break. Welcome back into Sports Talk with Theo Dorsey. Again, I'm your host, Theo Dorsey. Of course, you knew that already, but I want to talk about the Georgia Firebirds, and we have a special guy that can help us go around the league, Eric Tabor, the media relations guy for the Firebirds, and you obviously keep up to date with everything across the National Arena League. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm just excited. It's new season, great atmosphere. Everybody's excited. It's time to win a championship.
Right, and then for the Georgia Firebirds themselves, they didn't bring it to the table like they wanted to. The first game losing by, over 30 points at home against a team that you feel was beatable for them, right?
They were beatable. We just made some mistakes, but the good thing about it is these mistakes are correctable. And I look for Coach Savage and the coaching staff to right the ship and possibly even run the table.
Right. Now, the next two teams they'll have to play, Columbus Lions, the Jacksonville Sharks. Good thing about them, they played each other the previous night, so we can take a look at those highlights and see how the Columbus Lions and the Jacksonville Sharks fared against each other. And starting off right here, we have two rivals of the Firebirds. And first play of the game, Tommy Grady to Maurice Williams, 30-yard connection. You were watching this game. What'd you see there?
It was just a great read, great throw, great catch.
On the opposing end, you got a 6'8" Mike Reeve coming up with the reception. Is it going to be hard to stop that guy this year?
It's always hard. When you have a tall receiver, it's always hard to cover these guys because in this league, most DBs are 5'10", 5'11", 6 feet.
That's right. And we see back-to-back turnovers, one fumble and interception, and that's what kind of blew this thing open. The Jacksonville Sharks would actually ride to a very easy win in this game. The Columbus Lions came back a bit, but Jacksonville went on to win 56-41. Let's take a quick hear from Columbus Lions head coach on how they lost.
I mean, it's 5 turnovers. I mean, realistically, if I get 5 turnovers, I'm winning by 40. But, that was the turning point. I mean, we won the second half and can't turn the ball over. But I got to tell you, I'm not really disappointed. Not because of, we didn't lose to Jacksonville or whatever. I mean, I thought we played well. I thought we had a couple stops. We had a big 4th down stop. We held them to 2 field goals. If you do that in arena football, you got to win. We just got issues on offense, and we turned the ball over, I think 5 straight times we turned the ball over. And that put us too big of a hole we couldn't climb out.
After those turnovers, the Columbus Lions actually changed quarterbacks to a quarterback controversy. Now, of course, I kind of mentioned the fact that you'll be playing the Lions and the Sharks coming up very soon. Let's take a look at the Georgia Firebirds schedule, and we can talk a little bit about what's going on there. If we get the schedule pulled up and talk about, first off, you got the Sharks. Sharks don't have the quarterback controversy. They have a pretty good team, and we lost to them in the preseason. What's going to be the key in that game?
The key in that game is we've got to get a pass rush. We had 6 sacks in the preseason game. If we can continue to supply that kind of pressure, or put that kind of pressure on Jacksonville, we get a W. There
you go. So a possible W there. On April 2nd, you got to travel to the Columbus Civic Center and take on those Lions. Quarterback controversy in Columbus, right?
It is, but the thing is, it's a coming home party for several of the Georgia Firebirds. You've got Larry Edwards, John Harris, Roshan Marshall. All those guys want to come back to Columbus and prove a point.
That's right. Former Columbus Lions who came on here to the Georgia Firebirds to join what they're hoping is going to be a championship program. And then the very next home game, April 8th, against the Corpus Christi Rage. Now, we haven't played a team from Corpus Christi in how long, Eric?
It's been almost 10 years.
Yeah.
That was back in the old days of South Georgia Wildcats.
Okay, yep. And was it a winning fashion for them?
It was a blowout win.
There you go. So maybe that's a good sign, some good things in the leaves for the Georgia Firebirds there. But obviously, the next one is going to be the Jacksonville Sharks. We'll see how that one goes. Thank you so much for joining us here on Sports Talk with Theo. Again, I'm your host, Theo Dorsey, and we'll see you next time when the Georgia Firebirds play.